merch, baby! Oh shit, I ran over the mic cord. Today, we are talking about late night TV, but I just wanted to mention at first that I'm completely relaunching the Yikes design. Check this shit out. It's embroidered. Maybe I'll zoom in. It's so cool. But I'm not gonna be wearing this article of merch for the video, so I'm gonna be using a little bit of movie magic. Alright guys, so like I said, today we're talking about late night TV. I have a really conflicting relationship with late night television because I equally love, respect, and hate it at the same time. I'm always bothering friends and family with my opinions on it, and I thought, you know, if I feel this strongly, why don't I channel it into my art of complaining about things on YouTube. Very meaningful. It's really, really powerful stuff that I'm making. So let's not waste any time. Today we're talking about late night TV. Talking about late night TV so broadly is kind of hard to do. It has such a rich history in the last century of American television that you can't really ball it up into one thing, you know? But I'm not smart. I'm not a historian, so I can only talk about my own personal experiences. And if we're talking about the beginning of late night for me and most people alive watching television, that's Jay Leno and David Letterman. I know we're supposed to talk about Ed Sullivan and Johnny Carson and, you know, older men that are dead. And for the younger viewers out there, I need to mention that Johnny Carson was like the guy while he was on TV. He wasn't the original host of The Tonight Show, but he's the host of The Tonight Show. Everybody was compared to Johnny Carson for years and years and years because he was the guy on TV. But that's history. And to me, I'll be honest, that's boring. Johnny Carson is dead and he'll never be alive again. That's how death works. By the time I was paying attention to late night TV, not only was Johnny Carson long gone on TV, but Jay Leno was on his way out. The thing is too that current late night hosts have memories of watching Carson with their families or Letterman and getting inspired by him. But I'll be honest with you, Jay Leno didn't do any of that shit for me. He is the definition of boomer energy. And I'm talking about the current state of late night, so I can't summarize everything that happened between Jay Leno and Conan, but if you're not aware, Jay Leno was leaving The Tonight Show. Conan was set to take over for him. Then after retiring, Jay decided he still wanted to be on TV, so they pushed Conan's Tonight Show slot to put Jay on before him, and then Jay got The Tonight Show back and they kicked Conan off. So that's Jay Leno. You could take two of these. There's a prescription, Jay. You old man, take two of these once a day. When I talk about late night TV, I'm gonna have to narrow it down. This video would be like an hour if I covered all of the late night shows. I wanna talk about the main ones that everyone in the country can see. So unfortunately, even though I love him, John Oliver, you're kicked. Hassan Minhaj, sorry, you're on Netflix. Bill Maher, I don't care about you. I wanna pay attention to the late night hosts that are on the platforms that started it all. Networks.
I love that story so much, man. That's so good.
Alright, here we go. I know a lot of you people clicked on this video just to hear me hate on Jimmy Fallon. The hate for him is so interesting to me because I've fallen into it before a little bit. You know, you get a little annoyed of him and you want to talk about it. But it's not about Jimmy as a person. It's undeniable that most of the country thinks that Jimmy is a likable guy. It's arguably why he has a career in the first place.
Yeah, mama, this is happy Halloween. Jimmy Fallon, everybody!
Now, obviously, there are negative sides to Jimmy's show and his personality and how he is as a host, and we will cover that for sure. But I think the biggest problem is that the source of this hate, the actual deep-rooted source of it, is that he has the #1 spot in late night. Which, when you really think about it, is a weird reason to hate somebody, especially because history shows The Tonight Show has not been the best place for late night, in my opinion, for years. And every time I find myself being a little bit annoyed of Jimmy, I can't stop thinking about the fact that he just seems like a really, really nice guy. Sure, being nice in entertainment doesn't automatically mean you're good, but as a late night host, that is an important quality. And this can be seen as a pro or a con depending on who you are watching it, but Jimmy was the only host that tried to stay out of politics. And people tried to tear him apart for that, but did you really want Jimmy Fallon's political opinions? Did you really need that when everybody else was giving theirs? And the show does not match my taste personally in content, but I will give it to Jimmy that his show feels the most like a party. It feels like celebrities are coming on to just have fun and have a good time, which are the same thing. I just said it twice, I don't know why. But unfortunately, now we have to address the cackling elephant in the room, Jimmy's laugh. Yeah. It seems so bizarre that someone's genuine laugh causes so much hate around the country, but it just does. As most of you know, Jimmy's uncontrollable laughter is a constant problem with The Tonight Show. Laughing at your guest for good reason is not a negative about a show at all. Conan does it perfectly. He elevates a comedian's stand-up just by enjoying it in front of them. But as most of you know, Jimmy laughs at fucking everything. And I don't think he's faking it. A lot of people do, but if you just observe his time on SNL, he clearly just laughs at anything even a little comedic. But the problem is that it's a conversation ruiner. Sometimes something isn't funny and he still laughs, or sometimes something's not that funny and he still dies of laughter. And here's where I get kind of mean, because I think Jimmy laughs as much as he does because he's kind of stupid. I didn't want to say it, it's mean, but he's a little bit stupid, okay? Jimmy will ruin momentum of stories or punchlines just to ask for clarification or ask a question that doesn't really make sense just to understand the person better. And the absolute best example for this is when Louis C.K. was on The Tonight Show. He was doing stand-up about how much he loves napping, and Jimmy asked him this question.
Yes, because I don't take a nap because I need one. I just love it's my favorite thing.
You like it better than sleep?
Better.
Sleep is like the ultimate nap.
That's stupid. You just said that. That was a dumb thing to say.
What are you talking about?
That was such a dumb thing to say.
So here we clearly have Louis kind of embarrassing Fallon, but not doubling down, because everybody has those moments where they just completely fuck something up. But then Jimmy refuses to let it go and keeps doubling down on his stupid statement and won't understand what he said was wrong. It's so cringy.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you take a nap, are you laying down?
Yes.
and are you on a bed or a couch?
Depends. I mean, that's okay. Can you get past this part?
So even though The Tonight Show isn't the #1 spot in ratings anymore, historically NBC is the place for late night. So let's talk about who has the actual late night show. Now, when I was writing this video, I was thinking of pros and cons for every host, and for Seth Meyers, I could think of cons for other people, like people that wouldn't enjoy his politics, but I couldn't think of cons that I had about Seth. Seth seems to make almost every single guest I've watched him interview feel comfortable on his set. He's extremely friendly, he loves comedy, he was a head writer at SNL, he elevates other comedians when they're on, and just seems like an overall good host. Also recently, it seems like more than any other host, Seth will highlight and include his writers in actual bits all the time. He wants to show that these people are writing jokes for him. He doesn't want to seem like a one-man band. Also, even if you disagree with his politics, you have to agree that A Closer Look is a great segment. It's well written, it's informative, it's funny, and honestly, I think a better fit might have been The Daily Show for Seth when the slot was open. There is one more show on NBC, and that's Lily Singh's Late Night Show, but I will be covering that later, so let's skip on over to CBS.
I will speak to you in plain, simple English.
Anytime I think about my personal opinion on Colbert, I'm very, very conflicted. Personally, I think the Colbert Report is one of the greatest late night shows of all time. Whether you agree with the politics or not, it doesn't matter. It's one of the greatest pieces of performance art ever as well. He played a satirical character that wasn't himself for 9 years and never broke on his show. And I think the glory of the Colbert Report is what makes it so disappointing to watch the current show. Like, let's use his monologues as an example. When Trump was elected, Colbert was kind of the first to jump on criticizing him in monologues, and for a lot of the country, it was very therapeutic to watch him do it. But as it went on, it became clear that they were reliant on this content. They were reliant on bad things to happen in the news to Trump just to fill the time. And the monologues quickly went from this triumphant, first verbal punch to Trump to like the 50th day in a row that he was making cheeseburger jokes because Trump eats fast food. And I have to complain about this next thing because it drives me fucking insane watching his show. Trump frequently tweets things that are too long for one tweet, so he will end the tweets in a ... Now, I don't know if you know this, but Colbert's impression of Trump is god-awful. It's fucking terrible. And every single time, for comedic effect, Colbert will go ... and he's done it like 300 fucking times.
Will not accept or allow ... It's like 3,000 ...
And a major problem with the show is with light interviews, like actors, celebrities, athletes, the main meat of late night TV. Steven is just a bad interviewer. You can tell he lets his ego get in the way. He wants to talk a lot of the time. I've seen many times where an actor or comedian will finish a story and Steven will just sit there and go, well, okay, and then just start finishing the interview.
Wow. That is a true story. I learned then.
I don't care if it's true or not. I enjoyed it so much.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Okay.
You gonna be all right? It's all gonna be good.
No, I feel very good.
Is this mine? Where's mine?
That's yours right there. That's yours right there.
And I'm harder on Steven than I am on Jimmy because I know Steven is extremely intelligent and capable of better things. When it comes to serious interviews like debates or politicians being on, he is not only asking the right questions, but also during this time when Ted Cruz was on, the crowd booed him and he responded with this.
So if you want to change the marriage laws,
I'm asking what you want.
I believe in democracy. I believe in democracy, and I don't think we should trust...
Guys, however you feel, he's my guest, so please don't boo him.
I don't think we should entrust...
He wants to have an active and open, respectful forum to discuss things, and I have to respect Steven for that. So even though it sounds more negative, I truly do believe that Colbert is a better host than Jimmy Fallon, but he has so much potential that he seems to be wasting on cheap political content.
Thank you so much for helping me get to work today. This traffic has been terrible. I really appreciate it.
James Corden is, he's fine. Carpool karaoke was an interesting idea, and then he sold it to Apple, and he does, big ads all the time, like a Chase Bank campaign and other ones like that. I see him in commercials constantly. I mean, you can definitely tell that Corden does put in the effort to try and make a good show. He can sing, he can dance, he does bits with people all the time, but he's just okay. I do like the idea of having both of your guests on the couch at the same time. I think it's kind of dumb to be like, there's the one important guest and then the second lesser guest that'll come out later. Also, he did this big sketch on a yacht with Tom Cruise, and it just feels really bizarre because it's like, he's the Scientology guy? Or we just forget, we're just being fun and doing bits with him? Have him on the show to promote Mission Impossible, I get that, but having the idea to do a long bit with Tom Cruise, it's like, Scientology, what's going on?
That I have never met a more competent, a more intelligent, a more tolerant, a more compassionate being outside of what I've experienced from LRH.
Last night, while you were sleeping, Mommy and I ate all your Halloween candy.
It's weird talking about Jimmy Kimmel on YouTube because at a certain time when everyone was hating traditional media and YouTube as a company favoring it, he was also trending all the time. So Jimmy has kind of become the face of traditional media on YouTube and it intruding on us, which I don't think is exactly fair to just put all that pressure on him. So I will say the pros of Jimmy Kimmel are that his monologues seem pretty decent whenever I catch them. He seems like he actually really cares about comedy a lot. He has the the bits with Matt Damon. He's had hilarious bits on the show where he just lets celebrities do their thing. Like if you haven't seen the Knife Guys sketch with Ryan Gosling and Will Ferrell, I believe there's 2 of them, they're fucking hilarious. He's also a great interviewer. He seems to have friendly, fun conversation with most of the guests, and when he has something serious, it's actually a good interview. I did think after the Joaquin Phoenix interview that he was an absolute asshole, but it turns out they were just doing like performance art to reference the Joker about embarrassing a guest on purpose. But also, sometimes Jimmy can come off as a bit of a dick. I know a lot of people find the Halloween candy pranks funny. I just think it's weird to like betray the trust of your kid and make them cry and then upload it so millions of people can watch. How is your kid gonna feel at school the next day when everybody in their school watched them cry on Jimmy Kimmel last night? It's so fucking dumb that Gus and I made a sketch about it last year because we hate it so much. And the last thing I'll say about Kimmel, it's nothing really biting or some big criticism, but since he's on ABC, which is Disney, it seems like they use him as a promotional tool for their movies a lot. And I should be clear that every late night host obviously is a promotional tool. That's what late night is about in the first place. It just feels a little bit more disingenuous when he's actually a part of the company promoting the movies. And now it's time for my clear bias. Conan OBrien is the best late night host I think that there has ever been. Now again, I want to stress that I was too young for Letterman, so I cannot include him in my opinion. And I will say that Conan says Letterman was the direct inspiration for him doing what he does. In my opinion, Conan is just clearly the funniest late night host. Conan always makes the joke on him. He's always the loser.
I don't care who you were. I just asked for some extra sweet and sour sauce. That's like 7 forks, not sweet and sour sauce.
He was also the first one to really embrace YouTube and start uploading good content to it. Conan's remotes are famous for being just incredible. When he's just out in the world or out in his office talking to people, he is naturally funny and friendly. When he's not being friendly, he's being kind of creepy, but the joke is that he is the creep. But even internationally, it seems that people love Conan. He's just universally known as the best one. When he has stand-up comedians on, he doesn't steamroll them with questions or try to make it a little bit about him. He lets them work and enjoys their work on TV with the audience. Take someone like Bill Burr, for example. I love Bill Burr, but I have to admit, the more and more I see him in interviews, he is kind of the problem in interviews. He's kind of an asshole. If you say something stupid to Bill or ask a question that he wasn't ready for, he will fucking pounce on you.
Do you keep a weapon on yours or no?
On what?
In your, I don't know if you have a helicopter, if you rent a helicopter.
Do I really have to answer that? He knows goddamn well I don't have a weapon. Why are you doing this?
You don't?
And it just goes to show that Bill doesn't really work on other late night shows like he does on Conan, and that's because Conan is such a great interviewer. He gives Bill the space to be himself because he knows if he intervened, it wouldn't work out well. Being fully honest, Conan's career, at least as a late night host, should have died when he got screwed out of The Tonight Show. But his fans are so intense and love him so much that he's still survived because of them. And rightfully so. He deserves to be in the #1 spot, but just kind of isn't because of what Jay Leno did. I will say, I guess my big negative with Conan is just his monologues are okay, but that's really most late night monologues these days. It's just kind of a dying format and nobody really wants to see it that much anymore, so I don't really take too much from him for that. Also, Conan deserves praise for Andy Richter. He not only has Andy elevate things and make good comments all the time, but he's the only host to have his sidekick sit next to him and actually enjoy things with him. In a time with a bunch of older late night hosts, when Conan came onto TBS, I started watching late night for the first time. Like watching it for real, by myself, not with my parents because it was on. And Conan has and always will be a huge inspiration to my style of comedy, or at least just being defiant in your comedy against all odds. So after all of that, we know what current late night is like for the actual hosts. But what is late night in general like for us right now? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know. Because right now I would assume that most people, especially watching this, get their late night content from snippet videos on YouTube. The idea of having that one show that everyone's tuning into to see the party with celebrities that night is dead. We're in the age of the internet now, and late night TV is fake. Mostly everybody knows this by now, but if you don't, hosts ask the celebrity what kind of stories they'd like to tell. Most of the time, there's not a real interview, and we're in the age of the internet. It's real shit now. There's podcasts everywhere with great conversation, and the only late night host to be tired of the current format and to want to change it up and be more real is Conan fucking O'Brien. Conan sort of recently changed up his show. It's now 30 minutes. He has more real conversations with the guests, and he started a podcast where he has completely honest and real conversations for about an hour with celebrities. But the sad thing is that Conan's TV show being reformatted still doesn't really work that well. Nobody's tripping over themselves to go watch Conan on TBS anymore. But now that he has a podcast, if his TBS deal ends, he's forever relevant with podcasts because he adapted to the internet and the changing format of it. So you have the best late night host adapting to the internet. And what I could argue would be the worst and most disingenuous thing you could possibly do with late night TV is take somebody who's adapted to the internet and force them into the old, stale, fake late night format. And that's what's been done with Lily Singh. I have to mention, there's an incredible video by Jay Aubrey. I will link it in the bio under my sponsorship and my merch. I'm sorry, Jay Aubrey, I gotta make that coin, but it's down there. But I'll just say my opinions really quick that also fall in line with a lot of what Jay Aubrey said. It doesn't seem like Lily put in the work in traditional stand-up comedy or TV hosting at all. And that's not to say a newcomer can't be good. Conan was a writer and they just picked him out of nowhere. He was a complete unknown and just pushed him on TV. But he took a long time to try and adjust and make the show good. He'll even admit that his show was terrible at first. So, I will say that Lily's show is bad currently. But a first monologue as a late night host is incredibly important. Lily's first monologue was so polarizing to the audience of Americans in general. She came out and said this.
But I know for sure some people at home are looking at their TVs just like, is something wrong with my TV? Why are they playing Slumdog Millionaire after Seth Meyers? I understand that for some people, white people, seeing someone like me host a show is terrifying. Hashtag not my Carson Daly.
And I will say, and I'm sorry, I'm really not one of those guys going like, what about white dudes? You forgot about guys in this scenario. But in her first monologue, Lily seems to use the word white and the word, I gotta whisper it for demonetization purposes, racist, interchangeably. She says that white people are terrified to see her in her spot. I am overjoyed to see a YouTuber and a woman of color in that slot. That's awesome. Now please be funny. Also, she says hashtag not my Carson Daly. We don't give a fuck about Carson. Nobody is watching that slot. And that's what I think is kind of insulting. They take a YouTuber and a woman of color and they say, here's your late night show, but it's on way after everybody else.
But honestly, maybe I'm just the beginning. Maybe all of your favorite movies and TV shows are gonna get a minority remake where Viggo Mortensen has been replaced by Morgan Freeman. And that was just a movie about two friends driving through the South feeling equally uncomfortable. Or HBO's Girls, but with an all-Indian cast. Yeah, there's no sex or nudity, just really suggestive hand-holding.
Lily, to me, just isn't that comedically talented. And it's not about her being a woman of color. There are a ton of people that I think would be better choices for that slot instead of Lily. Just like I don't like certain other hosts, I just don't think Lily's a good fit. So if we're talking about the future of late night TV, it's kind of up in the air. It seems like a lot of the old hosts are willing to try and adapt, but network TV is still going on a downward trend. So these shows at one point might just be on YouTube or just be on streaming services. And I'm really interested on seeing who the picks could be. So we may just be looking at a dead format. It might have just been something that could last for, like 70 years, and it might just be tired now. But for now, it's kind of up in the air. So thanks for watching my video, and now a word from our sponsor. But it's me talking about our sponsor. They're not talking. This video was sponsored by Raycon. Everybody say thank you, Raycon. Man, we had fun talking about those late night hosts. Don't you wish you could have heard that video in high quality audio? Raycon is a company that was started by Ray J, And what they say is that Ray J was sick of high quality headphones being so damn expensive. So he made wireless high quality headphones. They sent me a pair of these bad boys, and you can ask Gus, he'll tell you. I run every day. I've run every day for 5 years without missing it. I don't know, give me an applause or something. But once they sent me these, I started running with them, and they have not flinched in my ears at all. They have not fallen out. And Raycon earbuds sound just as good as premium audio brands, but start at about half the price. These are the first nice headphones that I've ever owned. So I really, really like them. So if you want these, click the link in the description below to get access to Raycon's Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals. So go to buyraycon.com/Eddy with a Y to get amazing Black Friday deals on Raycons. The link is also in the description. Thank you for supporting the show, Raycon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I don't even need this, because I could speak from the heart that I like those headphones. Get out of Oh. Thank you to Carrie, Chris, Justin, Derek, Laura, Sarah, Kelly, Colleen, Sloan, Chris, Bernard, Mel, Olivia, Damian, Nick, Gabrielle, The Herdsman, The Hanging Judge, Dom, Kenzie, Mallory, Jackie, Aurora, Ezra, Diana, Ashley, Cybercase, Brandon, Alex, Lisa, Megan, Player, Brand the Raisins, Reese, Amanda, Shelby, Nichiban, Carr, Haley, Elizabeth, Peter, Malin, Chelsea, Josie, Michael, Trent, Dave and Janet, Marin, and Cody. Thank you guys so much.